Real estate is simple, but it's not easy. Okay. It requires grit and hustle.
Hello and welcome to episode 17 of the Smart Agents Podcast. My name is Michael Walter and I'll be your host. As always, with each episode, our goal is to inspire you through the insight and inspirational stories from your fellow real estate insiders. Now, before we get into today's featured interview, make sure you follow and subscribe to the show on whatever platform you listen to podcasts. You can find it on everything from Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, you name it, we are there. Also, as you can see if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to subscribe to the Smart Agents YouTube channel. Click the bell to get notifications whenever a new episode is uploaded. And lastly, if you or somebody else on your team has an awesome story to share, send us a message at feedback@smartagents.com. We're always on the lookout for new stories to share. Today's episode features part one of our conversation with Rose Sklar. Based in Broward County, Florida, Rose is coming off a 2020 that she says was her most successful year of her more than 3 decades in the industry. In this portion, we talk about how she has built her booming business, how she separates herself from the competition, and her thoughts on dealing with objection. So I'm joined here with Rose Sklar. Could you tell me a little bit about, your background in real estate and how you got your start and where you're at?
Okay, great. Well, thanks for having me on the podcast. I really appreciate it. So I began my real estate career in New Jersey at the tender age of 25. I'm now in the business for over 32 years. So now, of course, you all know how old I am. I am a boomer, proud to be a boomer. But I did start out coming out of college, attending Rutgers University with a degree in communication and a specialty in public relations and advertising, which was a perfect way into real estate. I started with Weichert Realty, believe it or not, with Jim. I think I forgot his name, Jim Norton, whatever, forgot it. And I got in quite young. And I think the reason I did so well back then is because I came out with a little bit more technology than the typical realtor, which was back then about the age of 50, which is what I am today. So I came in with a little bit of computer savvy from college, taking a little bit of computer programming and having a little bit of college under my belt. And I performed very well at a very young age, and I fell in love with real estate right away. Love talking to people, love helping people find their place in the world, and I've been quite successful at it. In fact, when we finally made the move from New Jersey to Florida, which was in 2001, I came with my husband and 2 children. He left a career in golf. I was in real estate, and I was doing a little bit on the side as well. I was a catering director at a country club because I had my 2 young children. And when we moved to Florida, we decided that we were going to work together, which was kind of scary, and I didn't want to do it, but it worked. We're very different personality types. I'm a little bit fiery. My husband's a little bit more mellow. And the combination of the kind of good cop, bad cop worked really well, especially somebody coming from the Northeast down to South Florida. So we came down in 2001. Within 7 years, I was already touting #1 producer in Weston, Florida, because I did niche marketing. And I've maintained the #1 selling status for the last 13 consecutive years in my market of Weston, Florida. So really proud. We work really hard. And we've since, from beginning with Rose in New Jersey to Rose and Dean Sklar, now moving on to the Sklar team, which is our next progression, moving forward into 2021.
Right. So as you were kind of progressing and making each one of those next steps to building your team, what kind of, apprehensions were there for leave? And I think a lot of people sometimes are afraid to leave that comfort of what they know to move on to the next step.
Well, you know what? You have to grow and evolve, and change is an important part of success. I mean, you're going to fail. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to go in front of the camera. You're going to not like the way you look. I mean, obviously, I'm here. I don't really love being on camera, but I know that I have a lot of great information for people. I've got a lot of great content. I don't like being in front of the camera, but I do it because you have to do it today. In real estate, you got to grasp onto the technology. You need to Zoom. You need to boom boom or whatever, it's bomb. There's all these video platforms. You need to do podcasts. You got to get out of your comfort zone. It's important. If you don't do it, somebody else will, and you're out. So embrace the change. face your fears. I've done it before, and I'm going to do it again. I'm constantly evolving and changing. In fact, we're going to be leaving our RDS logo, which you can see back here, which is really hard for me to do. We're going to be moving to the Sklar team in 2021. My son has joined the team. He is doing a lot of the back end marketing, website, CRM, and he's just fresh out of college. He's a Gen Z and he's full of technology. I'm trying to go paperless. I mean, I'm pushing the envelope. It's hard, but change is good and it's necessary.
Right.
So do it.
And that, as you were talking about, when you got your start in the business, you were kind of that for the generation of realtors that you got in. You were, on the cutting edge of things. So, I guess understanding that and knowing that that's where you were then and how it made you successful, I think is really important to your success today.
Well, it's funny because I think of myself like my son is just coming into the business. He's 24 years old. He just graduated from University of Miami, Florida, with an entrepreneur degree. He's really tech savvy. I mean, I'm like, where did it go? And he's like, Mom, it's here. Just click this button and that button. I lose everything on my computer. He's got me attached to multiple screens. He's got like the magnet and mirror and all these crazy things. I don't even know what they are, but I trust him. That was me coming in back in 1989. I can't even believe that was me. And I wasn't even that tech savvy, but I was better than the 50-year-old. So now here I am bringing in the new realtors, the new breed of realtors. Now, I'm never going to be going out of style because what I have is invaluable experience. I've made mistakes. I don't make them anymore. Negotiation skills, marketing savvy, content is in my brain. I've learned it. I've lived it. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to research it anymore. When I go into a listing appointment, I know the model. I know who built it. I know who lived there. I know all the neighbors. I know all the teachers. They're like, that's what people like. So get entrenched in your community and I always niched. I was never one of those people that sold everywhere. Like in the beginning, sometimes you have to do that as a buyer's agent. I'm in Broward County, so I live in Weston. People go to Miami, they go to Delray, they go to Boca, they go to Parkland. I mean, that is far. I don't do that. That's what I made my team for. I niche. And now moving into my 32nd year of real estate, I like to list. I'm a lister, I'm a marketer, I'm an influencer, I like to write content, I like to blog. I like to plan events. Obviously, COVID has been an issue. I actually did something really incredibly revolutionary recently. It was called my $1 million listing. And what I did is I had a lot of clients that were complaining that I couldn't do a broker's open and there couldn't be open houses. So what I did instead is I prepared a $1 million listing with only 5 realtors that I invited. I gave them gifts, which I got sponsors to provide Tiffany wine glasses or a bottle of Moet or whatever. I did local. I bought some local cookies from people in my community that needed jobs. I brought in brownies, cookies, whatever. And then I videotaped myself walking through the house. I got thousands and thousands and thousands of hits and people were watching me and they were waiting for my next one. I did it every week for about 7 or 8 weeks. And people were waiting for my next $1 million listing COVID style.
Right.
And it was just like, it was an idea I just came up with because I like to socialize and I was, I wanted to get out of the house. We wore booties. Mm-hmm. We had masks on and, we socially distanced. We did not eat. Mm-hmm. We, in the beginning we wore gloves and the gloves came off, but it worked well. Nobody got sick. The sellers were very happy. And I sold almost every single one of those houses. So during COVID, in fact, I have had my best year in my career for closings in October of this year. I closed $12 million in my market in 1 month, closed sales. Some people do that in a year. I mean, I did it in 1 month. So, and that was just us. That wasn't even the team. That was just, I just had such a backlog of business. Mm-hmm. And because of what I do very consistently, which is very important, it's called your branding. Very, very important to start with a brand and build on that consistently.
Right. And looking at your social media platforms and your website, you can see that branding carried throughout, even down to just the colors that you're picking. It's all.
And the font. I use the same fonts. I use the same colors. I keep it consistent across the board. If it's on Instagram, it goes to Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. My YouTube channel looks the same too. I have all the same colors. You have to be very consistent, and you have to post consistently. Right. And it needs to be relevant. People want to read your stuff. That's why I blog, because I have a lot of good information to tell my clients. And I like to use constant contact. I do a lot of email drip campaigns. I make them very colorful. They always look the same, but it's always different information. In fact, your subject line is the most important part of your email campaign, because you want them to open it.
Right. So
and a lot of people just click through.
Yeah. So I think that is one of those things any marketer or, that subject line is always the forefront of your mind. And, we come up with dozens of variations and test them. What kind of tips do you have for an agent or somebody that's trying to get their piece of mail opened?
Well, there's a lot of websites where you can actually type in, it's like for content ideas. I can't think of the name of it right off the top of my head, but I could probably get it for you because I have it in my phone. But and I don't do that anymore. I have a marketing team because I've gotten to a higher level. But research what the buyers and sellers are looking for on Google. I think it's through Google. You type it in, and they're going to give you a wheel of questions that people are typing in. And based on that, that's what you want to make your content on. You want to answer those questions and make sure that in your website you use that SEO. Yeah. Because it drives them to your website organically. In fact, my website is very organic. It's been for years. I didn't even know it. I never even knew that I hit the first page of Weston, and I didn't even pay for it. It was just what I was putting on, the information I was putting out to the world was getting picked up. Right. With my name, with Weston, with luxury, whatever words you want to use. You need to do the research. Go on YouTube. There's a million different people like you that are given this kind of information. So when you have nothing better to do, go learn something. Go read a book. Mm-hmm. I just got this new book I'm going to read, okay? Mm-hmm. How to do in 12 weeks what some people do in 12 months. Right. So I'm all over that because I want to go on vacation next year. I am so ready for my COVID vacation that I didn't get this year. I was going on 3 and I got 0. Right. And I need a vacation. That's how I balance my life.
Right. No, I understand that. And so you mentioned how your website is very organic, and looking at it, it totally is. I mean, it doesn't look like many of the realtor or team websites that I've really ever seen before. When you go on a lot of them, it's listing about us, and that's pretty much it. Maybe get your home valuation, but with you, it is so content heavy that it really is that all-encompassing community resource.
I think that the way I stand out is my content. It's what I know, it's where I go, and it's what I do. It's really my relationships with other realtors, contractors, lawyers, attorneys, the community. I do give back to my community. I do work with the Weston Music Society. My daughter went to school for musical theater. I love the arts. I want to keep the arts alive. It really fills my passion. I do a lot of work for other things as well, like Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies of Broward County, where I currently am collecting toys and diapers and food for the most deserving in our community who have been, abused by their spouse, they're divorced, it's terrible, but it makes me feel so good. And other people, they like that. So I like to do things like that. I like to give back now that I'm older and my kids are grown and they're out of the house. And I'm like, I can't follow them around anymore. I can't go to the soccer games. I can't go to see my daughter's show. So I give back and it feels so good. And, I write about it. People put me in the newspaper and people like that. They like when you do that. And that's part of my marketing program, but it's also part of who I am. I mean, it feels good. And you could help Habitat for Humanity. If you're with a company, we have a company called Caldwell Banker Cares. We just gave 90 bicycles to the most deserving in our community through our mortgage department and our title, through our company. We all come together and we help, we help the community. That's important too. Figure out what's important to you. Pick one thing. It could be your church, temple. It could be the music society. It could be you want to sponsor a soccer team and you have your name on a shirt. Like, just become active in the community. Actually, they asked me to be the commissioner, and I said, I don't want to be the commissioner because I don't have time. But that was kind of like nice. I was like, wow, people think I could be the commissioner of Weston. Maybe if I was a little younger, but now I'm getting ready to go on vacation, so I don't want to be commissioner.
Right. And I think by having, such a passion for your community makes you the person that people are going to turn to when they have their real estate questions, or they're looking for who else better knows what is working in that community than you.
Well, I am a leader. I'm a market leader. I'm an influencer. In fact, when I walk around where I work in Weston, people say, oh my God, your signs are everywhere. You know what? They are, because I have the most listings in my market, and I have for a very long time. And I am not going to lose that because I'm competitive. So if you're in real estate, you're probably a little bit competitive because you have to be. And if you're not, you're really not doing the work. If you're not in the business to sell homes and, meet clients and negotiate and create relationships, you really probably shouldn't be in the business, because to be a realtor, to be a good realtor, you can't be a quiet person. You got to be out there. You got to be on podcasts, in your glasses, not looking your best. It's okay. It's okay. People like authentic, down to earth, hardworking people. Mm-hmm. Look, I can sell any man's house. I can sell luxury. I can sell a rental. And I do it all because it's all important in relationships. And I've always done it that way.
Right. You're right. Yeah. You never know, especially like that rental, who knows what that person that you're dealing with at that point in their life, what 5 years down the road, where they're at in life and what kind of home they're ready to purchase.
Let me tell you a rental story of an amazing client that I've had for over 11 years. They moved to Dubai. He flew a triple decker plane. And for 10 years, I rented his house. I took care of his parents, his sister. I was their realtor of choice. He just recently, right before COVID, said, I'm going to sell my house, sold his house, had to come back, lost his job. His house is now gone. He just bought another house with me. I just closed on it last week. Oh, wow. He loves me, and I got him a better house. And it's relationships. They're such nice people, and they would never go to anybody but us.
Right.
And referrals are the lifeblood of real estate, really. If you can live off referrals, which I can, but I get more than just referrals because I continue to market, not just to my referral base and my sphere, but I also market to the global world, internationally, nationally, and locally. Right. I do believe in magazines. I still do old school. I do a lot of digital. I'm embracing the new digital explosion, really, is what we're having here. And am I afraid of it? Yes, I don't like it. You get some creeps. They're on your, you got to block people. My son showed me how. I get some real weird people that want to marry me from other countries. I mean, it happens. Right. But, that's really not the norm, There's a couple little crazies out there, so.
Right. Well, anyway. Speaking of, the using the digital, something I noticed on your guys' Facebook page, and I had not noticed on anybody else's before, was you're actually using the shop feature and showing and having your listings on there. Tell me about that, you starting that and how it's been working.
So that's really available to anybody. It's just one day when I was bored, which is, never, but I was just playing around with Facebook. And I do have an assistant that works on it with me. And I said, what's this? So we looked at it. I'm like, ooh, interesting. Let's do it. So I put everybody on. It made all my clients so happy. And what you can do is once it's there, you can share it to other sites. And you could boost it if you want. And you get lots of clicks. You could either direct it back to your website, your Facebook page, whatever you want to do. But anything that you could do to get your client's house out there and actually show them what you're doing, that makes them happy. And then every once in a while, you get up, like somebody randomly called me. Actually, I did it from a video. I was doing a live. I like to do live from my Facebook page. I not only do it from my personal page, I do it from my business page. I mix it up depending on how I feel that day. If I'm doing like new construction, I might do my personal page because a lot of my friends are from New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and they might be moving down to Florida. So I think, here I am, you guys from Jersey, check out this brand new construction. It's only 500,000 and they're coming from like Manhattan. It's freezing cold. And the next thing you know, I get, you're the only person we'll ever use, Rose. Like, and I know, I write that down. Oh, they're moving. Let me, it goes right into my database for later. And I incubate them, and I got a couple of those recently. I traveled the state of Florida visiting 55 plus because I realized I analyzed my buyer pool and my sphere of influence. And like I said before, or I think I was just talking to you by myself, but my sphere is baby boomers, okay? And their children that are millennials. So I'm putting all of my attention and my, I'm doing my homework and I'm traveling the state of Florida and I am visiting, every once in a while, I'm like, let's go on a little trip. We take the car, we stay overnight in a nice hotel, COVID style. And I go and I check out new construction 55 plus because most of my clients are 55 plus. And when I go to their house to list their house because they're moving, because their kids are grown and the house is enormous, I can help them make a referral. I am the expert. They trust me. Sometimes I make money on a referral just because I visited. And in the end, I am a walking book of knowledge. And that's why people call us. So go do your homework. Figure out what your client base needs. If they're millennials, go check out new construction for townhomes. Go check out, make sure you post on social media that the rates are so low and attach a link tree to your bio in Instagram and put interesting articles on your link tree. I don't know if any of you know what that is. I started using that a year ago. That thing is great and it's free.
Right.
It's free. And I'm old and I found it. So if you have no excuses, you young people out there, you just have to work. And, and another thing I wanted to say about my son, which is kind of funny, boundaries. Okay. I noticed that my son in particular has a lot of boundaries. Like, I'm not going to work this day and I'm not going to answer the phone after that time. So just so you know, as a boomer, I didn't have very good boundaries, but I am now very successful and I earned my success. But now that I'm doing very well, now I'm setting more boundaries. Like, I don't work Saturdays because I go out on a boat. So I'm not available. And if you don't want to work with me, that's fine. You could work with my assistant. So, but I've learned as an older person that, yeah, I can create boundaries. But I think I was afraid of that when I was younger, that I would lose the client. I don't lose them. I found that out. And it's very interesting.
Right.
But remember, you can't have such strict boundaries that you're going to have no clients either. So.
Right. And I think, like you said, the boundaries came when the success came. And
you got to work hard. It's not easy.
Right. Real estate's not a 9-to-5 job.
No, it is not.
It
is definitely not.
Right. And it's also, to be successful, it's definitely not a part-time job,
So I have a quote for you. Real estate is simple, but it's not easy. Okay. It requires grit and hustle. Okay. So anybody can be a realtor. Anybody can do it, but it's not easy to make money because you have to work around other people's schedules. You have to think on your feet. Most important tip I could give you is don't get hot. Don't react. When they start screaming their heads off, and they will, it is not personal. They do not mean it. They are mad at something else. And I've learned that as a parent. They could scream, I am so bruised and scraped and they're broken. People have I've even had things thrown at me, in that moment when they're losing so much money, and it's really not our fault, but we are delivering the message that they don't like.
Right.
I've learned to step back. Don't respond. Just don't do it. Say, you know what? Let's regroup tomorrow. I can see that you're upset. Why don't you sleep on this? I'm going to call you tomorrow. Is that okay with you? And I'm telling you, many times you're going to get the deal together the next day, but not then. If they're hot, don't even approach.
Yeah.
Just shut it down. Walk away. It's the best advice I could give anybody, even with your children. Anybody, not just real estate, in life. Walk away.
Right.
Don't react. It took me a long time to learn that one.
Yeah, no, definitely. I understand the children part of it. You know, we have 2 young ones, and when they're going nuts, they don't even know why they're going nuts anymore.
They're probably hungry.
Right.
They're tired. They're hungry. Their basic needs aren't being met. And you know what? The other person, you don't know why they're responding. It could be personal. It could be like a divorce thing, or they're not mad at you. They really aren't. They're just venting. You're like the person that's just going to get the firing. And I know that. I learned that the hard way because I would cry and, it hurt. I'm like, that was so mean. And I'm like, they didn't mean it. They just, people don't mean things like that. They can't help it.
Right.
So just cut them a break and just put them on hold and say, we're going to just walk away. I'm telling you, you're going to make so much more money if you could just do that one thing. That's it. That's it. You don't have to do anything else.
Right.
Sleep on it. Talk to you tomorrow. And put your kids to bed. How's that?
That's right. How do you separate sometimes the business from family? Because I know a lot of people, they get into business with their spouse and it can be tough. What are your tips?
I recommend therapy. Okay. So the business started with me. Okay. So I'm the founder. I began my real estate career in 1989. In 2001, we moved to Florida. My husband was a golf professional. And, it was actually 9/11 when we moved. So business was really, really bad. And I was like, oh my God, I moved to Florida. We have no money. What are we going to do? And my husband had no job. Like, we had no jobs. It was like, we moved. Oh no, what do we do now? But I'm a hustler. So I was knocking on doors for sale by owners. I mean, I put my feet to the pavement and I did the work, the cold calls that I hate. I'm like, I have 2 children. They are in elementary school. I don't have a job. I got to work. So I hustled, but guess what? It worked because I got 1 sale. I got 2 sales. I called my friends from New Jersey. My friend came down. She bought with me. I made my first commission. Then I bought my own house. I had another commission. I put my money back into marketing. I did not do nothing because a lot of people don't believe in it, but you have to market because no one's going to know you're in business. If you're not, you can't be a quiet realtor. You have to reinvest money back into yourself. And I know it's scary, but do it very small scale and then expand, which is what I did. My husband came on board. I did not want him to. I did not want to work with him, but I had no choice. We had no insurance. We had no jobs. I was like, okay, let's do it. So he got his license and we started working, and he worked really hard. He definitely a little depressed in the beginning. We were both kind of depressed. It was, little kids, scary, scary time. I worked, you know what? It worked. And then we started getting better and better, and I started making money and putting it away, and I came out of it on top, and I just kept going. I kept chugging. I was the little engine that could, and I kept learning and reading and educating myself and following up. I created a killer CRM. Most important part of your business, staying in touch with your clients, follow up during a sale, after a sale. In fact, this year I sent brownies to some of my really top clients for the holidays, COVID style. I knew, a lot of people were sad this year.
Right.
Nobody, I only had 3 people at my house because I don't want to get my in-laws sick. And it stunk. I hated it, but I did it because I don't want to get sick or get others sick. And every single person that I sent brownies to called me, thanked me. That was such a beautiful gesture. It wasn't very expensive. The lady delivered it. It was a local business. That's the stuff people remember. And another thing you could do is hand write your cards.
Yeah.
Just get out your pen and, even if you have bad handwriting, you can hire somebody to do it. There's actually a machine that'll do it for you if you can afford it. Have your kids do it. Maybe you can find a calligrapher, local, an older person that knows how to do calligraphy, hire them. I just did 500 cards for holidays. They were all handwritten. And guess what? They get opened.
Wow.
They get opened. People don't open labels. They throw them in the trash. So that's something I do every year. And I try to give nice gifts. I try to, on Facebook, I say happy birthday. I am very active every day. I text people, how's your son? Congratulations. But I'm not just doing it because of business. I actually like these people. Like,
Right.
I care about their children. A nice time hop came on my Facebook, and it showed us at a party a couple years ago. And I wrote, oh my God, I miss this so much. I miss you guys. And they're like, oh my God, we miss you so much. And these are like friends, they're future clients. I know they're going to move, and that's not why I did it, but
Right.
I miss that. I miss it. And so does everybody else. So
Right.
be a human, rehumanize your business.
Right.
Don't be that pain in the ass, annoying, naggy person. And if a person doesn't choose you to list their house and they're your friend, do not get angry.
Right.
Stop it. Do not hold a grudge. Get over yourself. They're allowed to choose whoever they want, and you stop being a baby. Move on. This is advice I give my children. Stop it.
Right.
They are allowed to pick whoever they want. Okay? It happens to me too.
Well, and I think that mentality is what I've heard from everybody, the people that have been in the business for a while and are successful, is you don't sweat the small stuff. Like, there's a million homes being listed.
Yes. Move to go next. Thank you, next. Thank you, next. You know that song by Ariana? Just move on. Get out of the past. Let's work on now. Not even tomorrow. You need to think about tomorrow, because you have to plan. You have to plan, and you need goals. If you don't have any goals or planning, you're never going to reach them. So sit down now. It's December. Get your plan. Do your resolution. Forget about losing weight and all that crap and giving up chocolate and alcohol and all those things that I try to do every year and never works. Just make a plan. Like, I'm going to list, or forget about list. I'm going to call 5 people 3 times a week from my sphere, and then get a habit checker. Put it on your phone. I have habit checkers. My habit checker says go on the boat at least once a week, because I joined the boat club, because in order for me to stay in real estate, I need to have fun. So because of COVID, I joined the boat club. I go out once a week on a boat in the Intercoastal. It totally transforms my mood. It's not that expensive. It's just incredible. I video the whole thing, and all my clients are like, oh, you sell intercoastal real estate? Yes, I do. Of course I do. From the boat, I do.
Right.
Guess what? I got people calling me just because I did that. So just be outside, think outside of the box. I do it a lot.
Yeah.
I'm just innovate and be creative and have fun.
Yeah. I think that's what a lot of it comes down to, is just, having the passion and then also enjoying every moment of it. Yeah. There's going to be times where it's not fun with those.
You go to the gym. I want to go to the gym. I want to build muscle. If I don't go, I can't get the muscle. You got to do the work, I do the work. I get up, I start working. I actually, something new I've been doing is I get up, I wait 30 minutes. I listen to a podcast of really relaxing music. I do not look at my phone, because I start way too early. Like, if it's 6 a.m., I'm on my phone. Yeah. I do not do it anymore. My son made me do it. He goes, get your headset on. I listen to ambient music for 30 minutes. I drink my coffee, and I journal if I can. I don't always journal, but I journal about whatever. You'd be amazed at what comes out of your head, like what you're thinking about. It's like kind of scary. Sometimes I remember my dreams. Sometimes I write what I want to do at work. But I try not to go right into the emails and the texting. I actually shut my phone off. My son showed me how to do not disturb with my emails, because they're click, ding, ding, ding. They're driving me out of my mind. So I don't get them now till 7:30 in the morning. Okay. So if I'm up early, you know what? So if I'm up here with stress, now I'm about here. You got to take the stress down a little. If I go for a walk, it's even lower. If I get up and I'm like, I'm going to go on the Peloton. I have a Peloton. It has clothing on it right now, but it's there. But if I do my Peloton, or if I take a walk, or I take care of me before I start work, I have a much better day.
Yeah.
So that's a little tip I would give to everybody.
I really want to thank Rose for joining me, and be sure to check out our next episode where we continue our conversation. This time we'll be touching on all things luxury listings. So once again, if you think you or somebody else on your team has an awesome story or tip to share with our community, send us a message at feedback@smartagents.com. Well, that wraps things up for this episode, but remember, follow the show wherever you listen to podcasts, and make sure you subscribe to the Smart Agents YouTube channel. Again, I'm Michael Walter, and we'll see you on the next episode.